everyone. Welcome back to TCS.
Hey guys.
So we have part three today of Bohemian Grove. I almost forgot what I was saying. We've o
Yeah,
we've opened space and the energy feels a lot different today, doesn't it?
it is.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure if I can exactly pinpoint how or what the difference is, but it's different. I feel um maybe a little more anxious.
Absolutely.
Is that the right word?
Yes. Yes. Anxiety, nervousness,
Yeah.
tension, throat and chest.
Okay. Yeah. That was so we had yeah. So my words aren't even quite there yet. My brain is running faster than my mouth at the moment. All right. Whew. So welcome back. We're just gonna go ahead and jump right in. First, please, if you haven't already subscribed, please do like, share, do all that great stuff. Always comment. We love to hear your comments and we do read them. Suggestions, questions, whatever, leave them for us. I'm just, this has me really, like, I want to get up and run right now.
Me too.
Do you really? Okay, so we both,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow, okay. So I want to, because I don't know if everyone understands this. When we open space, we're opening ourselves into the energy of where we're going. There is
Right.
no time space element when it comes to um whew, being in the dimensions. There's on the other side, there's no time. So we go right back to the time when they film this, we're there, and even back farther when we get in there. So this could be, I've forgotten his name. It could be his energy or the guys filming this.
Could be.
Could be someone from that was at the Bohemian Grove or someone they're talking about. I don't know the specifics on that at the moment, but it is a lot of energy. And yeah, I want to like leave the room.
It feels like I'm taking a hit to the left side or being pushed right at
Oh,
my face, maybe being pushed away.
okay. Like there's someone there like hurting you, like that kind of feeling.
Not hurting, the energy. It's this strong energy that's like pushing me,
Okay. Interesting.
and it may become more clear.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. We'll
All
see
right.
what happens with that.
All right. Here we go.
People believe that the Grove is where America's most powerful
Okay.
money cut deals and network. And what a better place for the Illuminati and Freemasons to recruit and plan their operation. The Illuminati is believed to have been influencing politicians and a new world order from behind the scenes since their inception, and perhaps they still conduct their business today beneath the shield of the Redwoods in Northern California. The symbol for the Bohemian Club is the greatest calling card for the secret orders, the massive owl that the Bohemian Club founders selected in their early days. Because, as you might know, the owl is also said to be the symbol of the Illuminati as well, representing wisdom and knowledge, a theme that is replete in the Bohemian Club's cremation of care ritual. Could the Grove be the place where the Illuminati still conducts their organization of world politics? And could the Freemasons, whose members still infest the world of politics, be organizing their own world domination plans at the mini campsites? The rituals conducted at the Bohemian
That owl piece. Apparently, in our first video, something happened and the sound wasn't great during that time. So someone didn't get to hear us talk about the owl symbolism. And I believe what I said in that first one or that we talked about is owls are used in many different ways. They have so many different symbols, so many different groups use an owl for their symbolism. it's certainly part of witchcraft and magic. And it's also part of higher vibrational things. Like we sometimes will see owls, and that tunes us into as a symbol, and that could mean something. So it's really sad, I think, that they use the owl because it kind of gives it that darker feel to it, that with witchcraft and dark magic and so forth. But we do know the Freemasons, especially, there's a lot of magic in Freemasonry.
Yes.
A lot of magic.
Mhm.
And the Illuminati, I think does too. I don't know as much about the Illuminati other than it sort of comes into play on occasion with sort of the bigger world stage, that the Illuminati, but a lot of magic in all of it. You okay over there?
Yeah, there's so much happening.
Oh, okay. Is there anything you'd like to say?
It started with this feeling of shaking,
Mm-hmm.
something landing and pulling. Hard to see, hard to hear, hard to focus. So this might be magic.
Yeah.
And it does feel like it's pulling.
Okay.
Does that land?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Yes. And
Lift the veil, spirit.
yeah, I will wait before I say more, but yes, it does.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let's continue.
Grove mirror the claims of rituals conducted by the Illuminati and the Freemasons, and the symbol of the owl matches the mascot of the Illuminati, the Owl of Athena. But what could they be planning there? Well, one fringe theory is that one of the greatest American tragedies, 9/11, was planned in secret by longtime attendee and former President George Bush while at the Grove. Former German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt's own autobiography, Men and Powers, talks about the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations conducting meetings and making important decisions at the Grove. He also discussed the Bilderberg Group and how they too made important decisions at Bohemian Grove. But could Bohemian Grove, accused of organizing presidential assassinations and murders overseas, be responsible for covering up something like a dangerous I don't know. I think that those theories can definitely be a little bit far out there. I am not an anti-vaccine person at all. I want to make that.
Let me stop him there. As we have learned many times over the centuries, it's easy to call something conspiracy theorist, that term, conspiracy theory. There we go.
Yeah.
And most conspiracy theories actually eventually turn out to be true.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. But at first, it's easy to shut things down by, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, and it's sort of this way to shut it down. So then everyone thinks you're crazy or whatever it is. So none of that stuff. I think that's another thing. We have to keep an open mind about everything. Even when you hear conspiracy theories, keep an open mind about it. Don't shut it right off, because that's how these groups have been able, one of the ways they've been able to do their work for as long as they have is because
Right.
they get people to say, oh, that's crazy. That would never happen.
They discredit them.
Yes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Spirit said that there were attempts to sway decisions, political decisions linked to Bohemian Grove.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
however that looked.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think and I've said this, there's places like Bohemian Grove, like all over the world, but I think some have more power than others. Like I think I'm getting 5, and I could be wrong,
Oh.
but are kind of like the hub, and they're like a Bohemian Grove is one of them, and there's like 5 around the world that are really powerful places. Yeah. All right, let's go.
explicitly clear. But it is interesting when it cuts down to the thought of a cover up of disappearing evidence, no matter what the evidence is, and how that ties into Bohemian Grove. Then there's also the child exploitation and mind control. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Grove is its strange ritual, the cremation of care. And in 2009, a letter was written by a woman named Pamela Schufert, which detailed a woman named Paula describing the horrors her former husband had faced as a child. The man, Jim Shaw, was apparently forced from childhood to become one of, quote, Ed Teller's boys, end quote. Of course, Edward Teller was the father of the H-bomb and a theoretical physicist. Now, Shaw, the man, had told his wife that Ed Teller forced him and other boys to take part in Sabbatian Satanist rituals inside the Bohemian Grove and in Hollywood. Shaw explained to his wife that he was forced to sacrifice other children under Ed Teller's control, and that he himself was used for sexual purposes in these demonic rituals.
Absolutely true. And Hollywood, the music industry, the higher, way higher elites, and way up in like every Freemason, are they a pedophile? No. But
No.
higher, way, you get way up there in the control. I often wonder, are these people, they have so much money, they have so much access to so much, they just get bored, and that the lines just get blurred of what's right and wrong? You know, like there's just, because you hear of it so much, all the children that are not just sexually abused, but sacrificed.
Right.
And they torture them. They want that fear, and
Yes.
it's just horrific. And this is getting, this stuff is hard for me to listen to, but well, both of us are mothers, and I'm a grandmother, and it's hard to listen to.
It is.
Okay.
That took place at Bohemian Grove. Theories already abound that strange orgies take place at the Grove, where men are claimed to walk the grounds completely naked.
Sex magic is another huge thing. I think you're going to do an Aleister Crowley thing, aren't you? Or someone
Yes.
in our group is doing a thing on Aleister Crowley. Yeah. And he was big on sexual magic. He's not the only one, but I think
Yeah,
most
you can
well
feel it.
known.
It's so strange,
Yeah.
but just the vibration of it, it's such a low
It's very
vibration.
different, isn't it?
It is different.
It's almost like
And
a
it's like
calling card.
insidious.
Yes. Yeah. Whoa. Yes. Whew.
Sorry,
No,
grody.
I agreed to do this video with you, Heather. All right. Whew, let's go.
This also is true because the Bohemian Grove faced a lawsuit where women were trying to get access into the Grove. They were claiming that it was discriminatory, that the Grove was only hiring men, and that women weren't allowed in the workplace there. The Bohemian Grove filed legal paperwork stating that men are urinating openly throughout the Grove, and that should be a reason women aren't allowed. So that's a very, very clean and clinical way to say that there are naked men walking around Bohemian Grove. And then you have former presidents, people in the news, former members, lots of people that have testified that there are completely naked men walking around. And that once again leads into the whole aspect that this is a men's only club where they're all getting really, really drunk. And I'm sure that a number of those people have some very repressed thoughts and desires. And when they're finally alone amongst the trees under the moonlight, very, very drunk, there's no cameras, there's no reporters. Their own family members and wives aren't even allowed there. Who knows what kind of debauchery they're getting into? I mean, I've even heard from people that there are underground tunnels that children and prostitutes are piped into Bohemian Grove through. That's a very, very common thing that's said about Bohemian Grove. Whether that's true or not, we obviously wouldn't know because those would be top secret.
I absolutely believe that. I think there's a lot of tunnels. I think they go all through. I also, well, I'll save that and see if it comes in. But one thing I was getting when he was talking about they walk around naked and that's sort of thing, these men. There's something about, there's some sort of feeling of power in that. And having your junk out, there's some sort of just swinging. There's just there's some sort of extra powerful, it's not just freeing or like I can go into a sauna and do the same thing or whatever. And there is a freeness to it that just feels, but it's more than that here when they're doing that here. And it's
You know,
almost,
it's weird though. When
yeah.
I see the images of it, it just looks ridiculous.
Yes, yes.
So they feel powerful. It's
I know. Well,
distasteful
men
to
and
me.
women see that whole thing differently. Yes. And from two mothers who have sons, I can tell you, they think their junk is really important. And so from a very early age, they
Yep.
yes, yes. So yeah. Woo. And all that this yes. Yes, 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 yes to everything he's saying. It's just not only an opinion that I already had, but there's some stuff and it's just landing just
Mhm.
yeah.
And they're careful about how they choose who to bus in as
Absolutely.
far as women, children, so that they're picking here and there and separating versus if they were just choosing from the local areas, it would bring great suspicion.
Absolutely.
And I think they're getting people from other countries too.
Oh, 100% that lands. Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yes. And I am not one of those women who thinks that I deserve the right to be everywhere I want to be. Like I would not be a woman picketing out there to at any point in time would I have wanted to like there are men's spaces and they can blah.
Stay that way.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Whew. Here we go.
All this is normally said as a joke, but many believe it's the truth that these massive do happen at the Bohemian Grove, as well as dark rituals meant to garner power for the 1%. And more evidence continues to pile on as you dig deeper. Paul Benassi, a man who was famously imprisoned for sexual abuse dealing with the Omaha, Nebraska Boys Club pedophile ring, stated that as a boy, he was forced to participate in satanic snuff films. The location that he said that he was forced to murder kids on camera at was none other than Bohemian Grove. In a documentary that I'm worked very, very, very hard on, we are going so far into the story of Paul Benassi and a lot of the stuff that we're about to talk about, but we're just keeping that under wraps for now. So this is very superficial knowledge that we're dealing with here. But as a child, Paul Benassi stated he was kidnapped by the U.S. military, tortured, and subjected to abuse and mind control. Eventually, he won $1 million in damages from a court in Omaha after he pled his case. Now, Benassi reported that he had access to the White House living quarters after hours and testified that members of the top U.S. military and politicians engaged in a pedophile ring. Paul Benassi in his life faced horrific circumstances, and he stated that he was once forced to perform acts with another boy before the child was shot in the head and killed right in front of him. As for the mind control, Benassi claims that it was carried out by General Michael Aquino, and that the CIA mind control research, like that of MK Ultra and Project Bluebird, was conducted on him and other children inside of Bohemian Grove. Now, with all this considered, as well as the comment during the cremation of care centered on children coming to the Grove, the child sacrifice ritual at Bohemian Grove may be a reference to a massive child pandering network as well as a death cult. I've also heard from people on the fringe of Bohemian Grove that they've heard whispers and ruminations of rings and orgies that operate within the Grove. I mean, you got to understand, the U.S. government is already heavily embroiled with. Just take a superficial look at Epstein, then dive into all these other rings and the FBI and the CIA. There's no doubt in my mind that a place like Bohemian Grove, where multiple presidents are gathering in one place, military heads, intelligence heads, it's the most secure place in the world. There's no doubt in my mind that there has to be some sort of a angle to some of these activities. People have discussed that at the Grove, men come together to become even more powerful by coordinating mass mind control. And if Paul Benassi is a credible witness, I definitely believe him to be a credible witness after studying his story for such a long time, seeing materials nobody has ever seen before that we're going to be talking about in the next couple months.
So again, child sexual abuse, all of this is so horrific, people don't want to look at it. And that's in their favor, right? It's in the favor of the people. Even as recently as I remember, there was a Obama thing, right? With he was
Oh,
the Pizzagate, and I won't go into all of that, but it's happening all the time. And I do think part of it is once you're in there, I don't think there's really a way out either. You know, once you've seen and participate, they get you to participate either through mind control and or drugs, so
drugs.
forth. They get you compromised, then you can't say anything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could, but people are so afraid of their status that they're not going to say anything. So, yeah,
It
God
felt
bless
like it
everyone
was,
who's willing to get in there and try and report on it.
yeah.
Yeah. Whew.
It felt like it was part of Paul Bonacci, if that's the correct pronunciation, part of his charted journey to break open and show the truth, especially with this, the elite, the government,
Yes.
the people in power. This was very important for him. What a horrific journey to go through.
Yes. Yes. And thank God that he's willing. They're to anyone who's willing to step up and say, this is what I've been through, you know, they're putting themselves at great risk to
Yes.
expose it. And bravo to all of them, and thank God for them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Whew. All right. Let's keep on a go.
But if Paul Benassi is telling the truth, mind control and child exploitation indeed takes place under the redwoods in Northern California at Bohemian Grove. And when it comes to the ring that Paul Benassi was involved with, I'm not going to speak too many details on that whole affair yet, but one of the accused was a U.S. president who I have mentioned in this video, and a president that has attended Bohemian Grove. This ring that we're going to blow the lid off of was being ran by the CIA and the FBI. It's the most disturbing story you've ever heard in your entire life, and it's
The Bushes, the Clintons, even though politically they were on opposite sides, they're all together in all of this madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just are. And there is a, I think I mentioned this in another one video, but the Bushes, I mean, that goes way back into all kinds of black magic and debauchery and all sorts. And there is, if any of you want, look up Aleister Crowley and Barbara Bush. There is a conspiracy theory or whatever that she is actually his daughter through some big sexual, you know, he'd have those big orgies and sexual stuff.
Oh,
You put those pictures side by side, they look like the same person.
get out.
Yes. Yes. So
Ooh, that is really creepy.
it is very creepy. So, but it's just like, yeah. And then we've heard all those things about Bill Clinton. And I think part of why none of them have been exposed, oh, that might not be the best word to use, but have been exposed is because they have so much dirt on everyone else. There's
Uh-huh.
so much dirt on so many people that helps keep the lid on it.
It does.
Because we've heard stories about all of those men for so many years and nothing ever comes of it.
There's also, the larger picture here is everybody involved, including us, are going through our charted lessons. We have
Absolutely.
individual lessons,
Yep.
we have social lessons. There are so many different categories.
Yep.
So the amount that are occurring with something as awful as this is, it's really mind-blowing. And we must walk through them. So
Yes.
therefore, things will remain hidden
Mhm.
in order to preserve the path.
Mhm. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I just want to say yes, yes, yes. Everything you said. Absolutely. Whew. All right. And we all can change that path or
Yeah.
um yeah, and that's a whole nother thing, but spiritually there are things that are absolutely we're meant to do, and but a lot of our life, yes, is charted out, and at the same time we have so much free will.
Yeah.
We can, but we're always on our path. So it's really, that would probably be a great video to do.
It would.
Yes.
Very, very interesting.
Whew. All right, let's keep going.
It's 100% true, provable with facts. Some of the stuff that I have access to right now is shit nobody's ever seen, and it is crazy. But a lot of the players from that ring have their hands in Bohemian Grove. There are players like Clarence Thomas that were accused in that ring. Their names come up, some of these people. And one of the things that was happening with that ring was blackmail recordings. Exactly like Jeffrey Epstein was recording his rich and powerful clientele as they were violently raping children. The same was happening with this ring that we're going to be digging into, where these powerful rich men were being videotaped as they violently raped children, and that's used as a form of blackmail. If you have video footage or photographs of a US senator raping a child, it's like you're the puppet master. You can make them do anything you want.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes sense. Alex Jones in his documentary actually shows that there are loads of cameras throughout the woods at Bohemian Grove, cameras that are hidden. What's the point of those cameras? That footage has never been released. A screenshot of that footage has never been released. Could somebody have access to those cameras and be using them for blackmail purposes? Even if it doesn't involve, if you got three openly kind of anti-LGBTQ people in the government on camera participating in a all-male, that wouldn't look too good for their campaign. So I would assume that that's just another form of blackmail. And I might sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist, but once you go down this rabbit hole and you read these real documents and you read these books and these testimonies and you work with victims like I have, you realize this is not far-fetched. This shit happens every single day.
Every day.
And yeah, the question stands. Have these networks infiltrated Bohemian Grove? Are they providing children for these powerful men to violently rape? I mean, there are camps at the Bohemian Grove that are off limits to other camp members. There are areas within the Grove that are purposefully hidden from members, and it's like the top of the top that only the certain folks can get in there. And yeah, I have no idea. So just recently, if you follow on social media events like this, there was a man who runs an account named Dancer who infiltrated Bohemian Grove. He snuck in kind of during the off season and he got footage of a lot of this stuff. I reached out to him. He's a friend of mine. He agreed to give me an interview about some of the stuff that he saw while he was inside of Bohemian Grove. And I'm going to overlay some of his footage now while he talks about it. This is my interview with Dancer.
Yeah, so I go by Dancer, and I train hop and explore and infiltrate places for a job, I guess. And I post on YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, I recently went to the Grove a week ago or so, filmed the whole ritual, the cremation of care. Yeah, I definitely saw a whole lot of evil going on there from afar. I definitely know some things about the Grove that I can't really get into right now because there's some cases that are need to be expunged before I talk more about that. But yeah, that was one of the craziest days of my life. A few days ago, I got chased out by a whole bunch of security guards, and they were trying to surround me and tackle me in the woods. They were shining their searchlights on me, but I filmed like more than like almost the whole entire ritual until they saw me. This was
I'm going to stop there because what I also see is spiritually coming after him too. And that's a whole, because with the magic, it's not just physical 3D people, like the security. Yes, they went after him. But they will or have already. I'm not gonna say I'm seeing it, I think be the visions I'm getting are prior to them. They're in a group, they're discussing the magic they want to throw at him. Does that make so
Okay.
I'm seeing it prior to. Um
Yes.
and you know, a lot of magic, like I think he's pretty safe from what, because along with magic is you have to agree with it, you have to agree to it, you have to, if they can hit you where you're scared, you know, that fear, they're going to get. So there have been a few things I think, and I would love to hear his take on this, but there are a few things that have happened. I think he chalked them up to like just being paranormal or something, like ghost
Mm.
like paranormal or something. Um, Also, I'd like to hear if he's had car issues. I'm seeing something about them sort of messing with his vehicle. Yeah, but I'm seeing energetic. I'm not seeing the 3D piece of it. So they're trying different things to stop him. But I think he's pretty immune to the, like I said, the witchcraft part of it or the magic part of it.
Yeah.
Um, but they're certainly
Yeah.
trying. But I think things have happened and he just chalks it up to, oh, that was just something that happened, or oh, that's the paranormal, or oh, that's, and it isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that they already knew that he was there. Like they knew very quickly. So that makes sense then with what you're saying.
I did. As you said that, holy crap. So they have people, wow, yeah. Tell me if this lands for you. They have people remote sitting in a room, remote viewing around the print, like they're gonna know, and then they let the the actual physical people security know.
I was trying to figure this out. That
Does
lands.
that land? Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, how is their security this tight? Because the security, like right outside, kind of just feels like everyday
Yeah, you
security.
can get through it. You can get through that
Right.
type of security. Yes.
Like, you know,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say anything mean because I can be really blunt. Like, nobody's breaking the mold here. Like,
Right, right.
it's a simple crew. But
Yes.
I'm like, yet they seem so tuned in
Yes.
to any little thing on the property. And that now makes perfect sense.
Because I'm seeing that some places they might have like tripwires and so forth, but not
Mhm.
on that big of scale thing. It's easier just to have some people who are really good at remote viewing or even astral projecting and
Right,
just paying attention. And you still get past them? Sure, but it's going to catch up.
right.
Yeah.
This is huge amount of property.
Yes. Yes.
So that would, I mean, it's extensive to try and put that much security up. You can imagine
Yeah.
the costs.
Yes. Yeah. So they have, but they will have the physical security go and remove them because that makes sense. But they do have people watching. Wow. Yeah. But not 24 hours a day every day. Mostly like a week before they have some big event, and then even during and after, they sort of concentrate it really in that area. With the
I
remote
also
views.
get that they can, whoever they are, they'll sense somebody on the property, even if they're not viewing it.
Mhm.
And there's some decision making of, is this somebody to be concerned with? Well, we don't have anything going on.
Yes, yes.
They're not going to find what they think they're going to find anyway.
Mhm.
So, let's see what they do and then
Right.
security can get rid of them.
Like there's checkpoints, kind of like, okay, we'll let them get in a mile. I don't know what
Right.
that, but because there's nothing really they're going to see there. We'll let them go over this camp. There's not much going on there, but over here, yeah. Yeah.
Fascinating.
So I think, yeah, I think you're right though. They do know, and then they just kind of keep an eye on him. And whether they knew or not that he was videotaping, I don't know. They might have known, but nothing really happened or something. I don't know. And maybe he was able to sneak past it all. But they know of him now, certainly.
Right.
You know, at some point they figured out that he was there and doing something he shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And I also get they don't use dogs because of all the poop. Because that's a lot to, because they have people running around like crazy. They don't need to be, yeah. So,
There is mention before this, Spirit said about hunting people.
ugh.
So hunting women, hunting children.
Oh, like they send them out, like, go ahead, you get a head start. And then, oh my
Yeah.
God. Yes. I just had that vision. That's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, that flashed in
The
before
debauchery.
this segment.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Whew, Pam, stay in here. Stay in here. Stay grounded. You're okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
My third time actually going in. I have to credit a good friend of mine, Reckless Ben, for like inspiring me to go in the first place. He made a YouTube video. I decided to go in by like the water the first time I went in by kayak, and then I like explored the whole entire like area, the kitchen, the owl, the lake. That was like mostly what I explored, and I also explored a bunch of cabins, but that was the second time I went in and like went through a bunch of like creepy documents and the history of Bohemian Grove and all of the members that have been there since the 1890s. I think the club's been around since 1872. Yeah, and then this most recent time I just went to record the ritual.
Why are you drawn to it?
Like, yeah, why? Well, it's always been like super secretive and like there's not a lot that's been known about it. And people have to like sign NDAs so they don't like say anything about it. There's some weird allure to it because like I think people know that there's something evil going on, and that's like why like nobody can record in there and there's no news coverage and nobody is allowed in there. The only people that are allowed in there are people that like have been on like a 20-year wait list and have paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to even join this like cult, if you will. Yeah. Yeah.
I get they're the people that talk aren't too worried about Dancer.
Mm.
They're really not that worried about him or yeah. Like the whatever information he's getting is already kind of out there. They're
Right.
not too worried about going after him, but he could stumble across something that's they don't want him to, and then he'd be in real trouble. Like
Yes.
physical, like they would physically harm him or even, suicide him, something like that. But he thus far has not, and I give him all the props in the world. Bravo to him and Reckless. Is that what he said the other guy's name was? For even attempting this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. We'll keep
There's something in the water, and it sounded like Spirit said on occasion it's in the water.
interesting.
So where he kayaked or canoed to enter the grove, Spirit sent like an image of something. It's really hard to make out when they do this because they flash it.
Yes, yes.
And it's like, what is that?
Huh.
I don't know if they're gonna tell me.
They may not. That might be all you get.
Right, it might be. I think it's about maintaining the boundary, but it was real creepy looking, and it's like it would just come up to the surface
Oh,
and look around and go back under.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Hmm. I that sort of, not sort of, it does land. And what they have so much security around here, around the Bohemian Grove, like truly, if they don't want you to see something, you're really not going to see it.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that is just, you have to get someone who is a victim there.
Yeah.
And even that victim may not even know everything either, but that's truly who you have to get to talk about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
First time I like I came in through the river, and then I went through the road, and then I went to the kitchen. The kitchen's huge, and I'm pretty sure there was like a morgue in there because it smelled really awful in there. I got a little creeped out. I should have kept going and kept looking for more information and to see if there was any more stuff in there. I thought I set off some alarms, so I wanted to just get out of there.
Someone's inner, he has someone following him in there. You sense that energetically?
Yeah, because I just shook.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's an energetic someone just watching him walk around. Yeah. Okay.
Pretty quickly. I just wanted to record the owl statue and see it for myself. But I did see like a whiteboard in there with like, it was pretty much saying like happy last day of Bohemian Grove. I think it was just their last day working the encampment for the summer. They only really do stuff like 3 weeks out of the year in the summer. I did see like on the whiteboard, it said Josh Peck. That was like one of the names that stood out to me. So I don't know if Josh Peck has anything to do with Bohemian Grove, but it said Josh Peck on the whiteboard and a bunch of other names. So yeah, that was the first time. The second time I went, there was just like a lot of like rich CEOs that have to do with the Grove that I went through their pages and stuff. Like I went through a bunch of people's like belongings. All the cabins were like that I went into were unlocked. So I just like walked in and just like was just going through some of their stuff. I went through like probably a dozen cabins or so, and then I went to the owl statue, and then I went to the amphitheater. And then when I went to the amphitheater, I got chased out by a bunch of guards. Like it was probably like 4 or 5 guards. So, and I ran up a hill. That's how I got away. And then this most recent time, there was like 4 or 5 guards that chased me up a hill again after the ritual. The security does not mess around here. I'll say that. You'd think they'd have infrared cameras and like more like hot night vision stuff, but I don't think they do.
They don't need it. And what came is and I think we noticed there's the tunnels underneath and that sort of thing. And I think it's around somewhere around that owl statue, right? Somewhere around there. So it's safe to let him just go into the kitchen area, whatever. There's nothing there. Look through all the boxes, whatever. You're really not going to find anything. But where they're really protecting is those areas where he would find something.
It also seems that there's a part of protecting the energy that's there that they don't want him to disrupt.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, because
Yes.
it's dark energy. So,
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Yes.
it's so sickening.
Oh, it's horrific. Whew. Okay. Let's keep going.
And then there's like rumors that there's like a SWAT team and like FBI that like patrol the area, and I don't really think that's true either. I think there's like it's not as like secretive, and it's not as like they just like want to scare people from going in, and it's like easier to get in than I think people like wanna. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. To me, if there's nothing going on there, nothing strange, why would they have year-round security? That's so extreme.
Well, I think a lot of like the rich people just keep a lot of their shit like in the cabins, and they wanna have it protected, I guess. The place is absolutely huge. Just tons of redwoods everywhere and hundreds of acres of land. I got poison oak all over my body. It's just now healing. But I was covered in poison oak, like running through the forest. It was not comfortable.
Yeah, that sounds like shit, man. When you were there and the footage that I saw nighttime, very dark, what was the kind of vibe and energy that you felt there? Was it just kind of like a normal forest, or did it feel kind of off?
No, the energy definitely felt off. for sure. I was there with a few other people and that were also infiltrating the Grove. I saw in the grassy area with all the people sitting, I saw like there was commotion and people getting arrested. And those were like my friends getting arrested. And yeah, they got like felonies, like felony conspiracy, felony eavesdropping are the charges they got. Yeah, something just definitely felt off the whole entire time I was there. There was like people sneaking up from behind me, like that knew that I was there. I like felt I was like watched the whole entire time. I was like on edge. They might have like trail cameras and stuff set up and motion detectors. But yeah, there was like a legit person that was like I think was being sacrificed there. They like were carrying a bed in the ritual, and there was like a bunch of people carrying a bed like to and from the altar, and there was like a dude covered in a blanket. Yeah, the whole thing was just creepy as hell, and I just like did not want to be there at all. I was like, I just wanted to get footage and just get out of there, just try to get the truth out there. I'm pretty sure like 5 minutes into the ritual, like a big spotlight illuminated on me. I thought I was done for, but I decided just to keep recording and just stay still. I was like kind of behind a tree, which helped. For the first like 5 minutes or so, I was like literally behind a tree. But then I like went a little bit closer, and that might have been like a mistake. And I wasn't behind a tree at all. I was like kind of behind a bush.
But you got the footage, man. That's what counts.
Yeah, thank God. I had to run for like 2 hours through the forest when they were like trying to surround me from like all sides. They really did not want footage coming out from that place. They probably knew I was recording. And they were like trying to catch me. Moloch is the owl god. And if you look it up, it says Moloch is the child sacrificing god. Yeah, it's like up.
Before we started recording, you were talking about like magical stuff. Did you see anything in any of your explorations that would lead you to believe those things might be happening?
Some of my buddies like went in undercover and were like looking at like these magic games going on like in these little booths. I think it was like some sort of black magic type stuff. They didn't really go into it a whole lot with
He and all of his friends, all of them need to get cleared, get their energies cleared.
Mhm.
Absolutely. They've got all kinds of stuff being thrown at them. So and not to say that, like, again, not that it's going to affect them. However, as we know about magic, once that spell is cast, it's on the person, just kind of waiting for something to happen, for that fear to come up or whatever, and it sort of gloms onto that fear. I won't go into too much about all of that, but they need to be, all of them need to get cleared for sure.
When they turned the camera around, standing at the owl and looked out from the owl, that was very eerie. So there was dark energy watching, multiple. That would have made me run,
Oof.
for real. Like
Yeah.
even as a medium, I would have been like, bye.
Peace out. Yes. I'll get poison oak. No big deal.
Yeah. I don't care because it was so oppressive and there were so many spots.
Yeah.
Just these dark figures were rising all around.
Wow.
There's also something to presenting one way to children, almost like a fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the owl was a part of it. And then moving to the horrors.
Mm-hmm.
That kept hitting multiple times. And it took some effort to get there. It's like, are there other areas in the Grove that have a fairy tale vibe or other structures I'm wondering about? But there's this fairy tale vibe. It's so strong.
What's coming through is there is something about the energy of a child who's playing and is having a good time and all that, and then they're hit with real fear.
Yeah.
And that's what they really want, is that that fear. They thrive off the fear. But to first get them all happy and excited and all of that, and there's something about that quick
Turn
shift,
around.
right? From that high vibration of joy and what to just straight on fear and confusion and those poor children. Ugh. Oof. Let me know when
That's so
you're
rough.
ready. Huh?
That's so rough.
Yes. It's horrific. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't, if you're not ready, we don't have to go.
It's okay. I'm kind like as I cough, I'm expelling
Okay, good. Yes.
some of that energy.
Yes. And I will say again, if anyone watching this knows any of those guys that go in there, they need to have their energy cleared. There are things, what I'm really getting is there are a few of them where there's some things in their lives that have really gone sideways and they're not putting it together with what's happening here. Like their relationships are just tanking. Someone has gone back to using, like they have an addiction. Things just aren't like they just can't quite get that part of their life to get together. And
Right.
some of it is this magic. Yeah. So they need to, and that will really help.
It will.
Okay.
Me? Yeah, it was something creepy going on. Like they had like so many like different areas of the Grove doing like different stuff. Tons of artists, musicians, and tons of like really talented people like coming into the Grove to perform.
Anybody that people would recognize that you saw or heard about?
Not any like performers that I would recognize, but I'm pretty sure like Bill Clinton was there and Peyton Manning apparently, and those were the two names I overheard. I don't. There's definitely more people there that we would know.
And what do you think's happening? Like you've been there. What do you think they're actually like doing a sacrifice, or do you think it is just kind of harmless?
I think it's harmless now, and they're not doing anything too crazy. But I think maybe in the past they might have been doing some crazy stuff. Yeah. Apparently, there's tunnels that like they bring prostitutes in under the Grove. They like sneak them in under tunnels. Like that's like something I've heard. Who knows how true that is? And maybe they sacrificed children in the past. I think they do like keep a record of what goes on, but they keep everything like in files.
I think it's to say it was all in the past is they could have moved from there, to do it somewhere else, maybe between those the other places, but I the verbiage they did it in the past isn't landing with me. Like it's all in the past. No,
I heard it's getting worse.
yeah.
So I got the opposite.
Me too. I mean, the feeling is that I didn't get what you got. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That lands for me. Okay.
In the Grove that's like top secret. I did see like a cameraman like
Oh, Pam,
that was
let me
like
add something. So the energy there is so entrenched. That can be an important component, is what Spirit's saying, and why they would continue doing it there.
Yes.
They
Yes.
have, over the time they have
Yes.
spent doing these atrocities, the energy has built up and expanded. It's become more powerful.
Yes.
So for them in their darkness, they would try and keep and maintain this space.
Absolutely.
It would be hard for them to let it go.
Yes. And I would say to anyone at home watching this, if you say you have a place in like my office, I meditate here, I do all my sessions here, I do a lot here. So can I do like if someone, if I want to read something or heal, whatever, can I do it somewhere else? Sure. However, coming into my office, there's already a precedence here. And this is
Mhm.
a high vibration. Low vibration, same thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, absolutely.
that's a great example.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's a strong thing, you know.
Yes. And it stays there. Yeah. Woo, that's why we could, well, anyway, yes. Interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay.
Like, working with them, and I guess he's like allowed to like, record everything and document it, but they never release anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a camera guy, like with a big setup?
Yeah, I like zoomed in on him in my video. I can send you like a timestamp.
That's bizarre. Yeah, then it makes you wonder, where does that footage go? Why is it being recorded?
Yeah. I think I just gained the people that I was working with. Like, I only worked with them for a few days, and I consider them like, lifelong friends now. And hopefully, we'll infiltrate a whole lot more secret societies and cults. There's a whole lot of like unknown going on in the world, things that are going on behind the scenes. I just think people like they deserve to know what's going on. And yeah, there's no room for evil in this world, and hopefully, all this stuff like stops because it's not good yet.
Not going to happen. Yes, there's a whole lot of evil in this world, but it's never going to stop, unfortunately. Can we help people and help lighten some of it? Sure. And that's part of what we do, right?
Yep.
But it's never going to be gone. It just, sadly, it just isn't. And there's always that balance. But no, unfortunately, it will never, and it's been going on forever, some form or another. I mean, you look back in history and the kings and what the pedophilia has been around forever, right? And that still goes on. I mean, and slavery and everything all around the world is just evil.
Yeah.
It would be wonderful to get rid of it, but there's no way. But
Mhm.
you can make a dent in it and you can help people. There are a lot of victims that can be helped. And
Absolutely.
yes. Whew. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before I quit the recording?
Oh no, I think I'm good.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, Dancer.
So, interestingly enough, I was just talking to him last night, and Dancer recently went viral because he snuck into Bohemian Grove this year and he posted footage that he captured of the cremation of care ritual as it was happening. And it was the same creepy shit, robed people, creepy voices, screaming sounds as the body is burned, the mock effigy, burning, sacrifice, all of that shit was still happening this year. And he posted that footage. The Bohemian Club themselves actually contacted YouTube and got him to take it down. Let's put the screenshot up right now. And they said, I've never seen this before ever on YouTube. They took it down because it's, quote, a private performance. I've never seen something like that or a justification like that from YouTube. How fucking crazy is that? So YouTube, platform that we're on right now, they're kind of obeying to these people. I mean, they have an email. You can see on that email form. I actually sent them an email. I didn't get a response back. I mean, that's shocking that you can't even post footage of what they do out there without being taken down by the elites.
That's not shocking to me at all.
Mhm.
It's really not at all. The only thing that I can say is they're very careful about, like, they're letting him put that on the video we're watching. That was allowed to be on there. We're allowed to do this. When I say allowed, they're not, there's no strikes or anything coming. But there must have been something in that video from Dancer that went too far.
Mhm.
Someone's deciding what can be up there and what can't. So there must be something really good in that video that Dancer that they had taken down. And YouTube, they cave all the time. You hear it all the time. They cave and take and demonetize people. They take them off here for all sorts of reasons. But I think the biggest thing is just they have people breathing down their neck that can make their life probably miserable. So they go, okay, well, easier to take down this video from this little creator than whoever's threatening.
There is also a part of it that they want. they want the energy. So there's energy of
Oh,
people
sure.
who are watching, who are, yeah, intrigued. So, evil is insidious and it works on you in, wow, already, in certain ways. And it can start with that building attraction of, look at this. This is so fascinating. Take a deep dive, so that it can get in and work throughout. So there is a piece of it that they crave, which is the attention that can build more and more power for them there.
Absolutely.
They're just controlling it.
Yes. Whew, that all land. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. They don't do anything knee-jerk. There's no knee-jerk reactions to anything these people at Bohemian Grove or any of the top elites, any of those groups. Nothing is knee-jerk reaction. And I see it like you have to go, like someone at the bottom can't just make some decision. That's bad news. Even in the middle, there's
Yeah.
always a chain of command, and you have to get kind of what they're saying is like the old time, like the mafia, the way the mafia ran. You had the families and someone at the bottom. You can't make those decisions. It has to come right from the top of the family. It has to come from, or you're going to be in big trouble. You're going to be
Right.
sleeping with the fish.
Yeah.
All right. Whew.
That's it, honestly. And I feel bad for Dancer, my friend. But at the end of the day, why else would Bohemian Grove, supposedly active only for a few events a year, be protected by a sophisticated security team all year? Locals in his documentary testified to Alex Jones that they had seen the FBI swarming Monte Rio, the town closest to the Grove, and another local testified that he was interrogated by the Secret Service after getting too close to one of the campsites. But there may be another witness to the evils of Bohemia, a big name in the boxing world, a man named Ryan Garcia, who apparently recently witnessed this child exploitation. Now, take all of this with a grain of salt, but this is pretty disturbing. Ryan Garcia recently spoke with Andrew Tate, another infamous social media figure who I've got my own opinions about. Ryan spoke with Andrew in a short interview and revealed how he came upon this shocking truth. Ryan stated that he had videos of the atrocities that happened at the Grove. He claimed that he was tied down by members of the club and forced to watch as children were after he had been abducted by them. And he's deadly serious in this interview. In the interview, Brian Garcia says, quote, "They held me down and made me watch little kids get, I don't give a fuck anymore," end quote. He claims in the same interview that the high elite forced him to watch children be at Bohemian Grove, that he had video evidence, and that if Alex Jones could get video evidence, he could too. He further claimed that if they, the upper elite, threatened his life, he would release the footage and that he was untouchable because he had proof.
Ooh.
This begs the question. Could Bohemian Grove be even worse than we've ever imagined? A secret death cult of the elite? A pedophile ring of worldwide proportions where they sacrifice effigies? Or perhaps real children right under our noses?
Yes. The way he's saying it makes it sound like he's never thought of that before. Well, that's why you're doing this. Like you believe it too, dude.
Yeah,
Yes, it's that bad.
he does.
Yes, yes, he does. He's being very dramatic, and I appreciate that. These are good videos. So, I don't think threatening those higher is a really good thing for that boxer guy that fighter to do. Fighter, I
No.
don't know if he's a boxer or MMA, something like that, but I don't recognize the name. But threatening them is probably not a great. I could see why he did it though. Like he's coming out talking about it, and then he wants them to know. But ooh, that's a dangerous game with those people. Whew.
Yeah, there's something weird about that.
Yeah. What
Um,
do you get?
I feel like part of it is true, but I feel like there's some stuff mixed up here. Um,
You
And
mean
I'm not, huh?
with this Garcia guy, what he's saying?
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure we're on the same page. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's hard to say what exactly, it's like I'm getting a mental health component,
Mm.
or a drug component, and how to tell the difference between drugs and mental health, psychic wise, is a difficult one for me at this current point.
Yes.
But one of those, both of those, something is going on there. Some of it's true, some of it got mixed up.
Agreed. And the post-traumatic stress from whatever he was forced to watch, I mean, that's mental. That's woof. And you could see the little clip that they showed of this guy, you could see it in his energy, that the confusion,
Yeah.
the trauma, you could
Yes.
see that trauma, like it, whatever he witnessed, it scarred his soul.
Yeah.
Yes. And then if there's drugs involved, even mental health issues, whatever, things can get very confused.
Yes.
You can be susceptible to people saying, well, did this happen or that happen? And, and that happens with psychics as well. That's why they say, like, before you don't feed the medium, don't say too much to a psychic. Don't, because you don't mean for it to, but it can get you confused. Same, I would think that's the same.
Yeah. And it feels like a naivete component, but on the other end,
Ah,
they thought they could flip him.
ah,
So get him to do bad things.
sure.
Take part. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And there is something that's coming through too. I don't know what happened to him specifically, but I'm going to say there was more that happened to him and he's not saying.
Okay.
Out
That
of
might be it. Yeah.
embarrassment, out of shame, because making him watch that, the fear that it's going to happen to you, and the fear of, if they can do this, what's going to happen to me. They love that fear. Like, they
Yeah.
thrive off that fear. Sexually, I mean, they thrive off people being so I do think things happen to him, and he probably just can't go there,
Yeah.
which
That lands
I
perfectly.
certainly don't fault him for that.
No.
Everything he saw, because I do think he saw a lot too, right?
Yeah.
It's just something's, and it could be maybe he dissociated during that time. There's
Yeah.
all sorts of, yeah. Woo, man. Okay. Woo. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And are they testing mind control on children in the woods? Are they disguising the most sinister world plots as a massive frat party for the elite? And are the members blackmailed for taking part in these events, or forced to serve whatever evil purpose the organizers of Bohemian Grove hold? Fringe theories state that the Grove is a modern-day testing site for more than just mind control, though. One article states that Bohemian Grove is possibly a place where the system of eugenics is carried out to this day. It's posited that this Republican playground is more than just a conservative haven, but a haven for those who still agree with the beliefs of the Third Reich. Moreover, it's thought that the elite in the Bohemian Grove have access to time travel, which they use to influence world events. Some people believe that at Bohemian Grove, the politicians don't only meet with each other, they meet with extraterrestrials to discuss alien technology and world domination. And though these theories are fringe at best and somewhat laughable, some people do truly believe in this stuff. That U.S. military members, politicians, and businessmen are meeting with aliens to control the population and gain access to alien technology. The list of confirmed members of Bohemian Grove is pages upon pages long, and includes names that reach up to the highest level of the US government. We'd like to believe that our government would never take part in such terrible atrocities, such as child exploitation and ritual sacrifice, but the American people have been lied to by our government numerous times already. For instance, the CIA's involvement with the mafia in the Bay of Pigs and Fidel Castro's assassination attempts, Iran-Contra, Watergate, MK Ultra, Epstein, and so many more. Look up Operation Northwoods. The government and business world of America certainly isn't squeaky clean, but could these leaders really be wrapped up in a ring and a blackmail operation? Worse, could a death cult, a satanic ritual ground where children are sacrificed to dark gods really exist out in the woods in Northern California? They say that in Bohemian Grove, the roads have to be lit day and night by streetlights because the redwoods block out the light of day. The truth is similarly shadowy, a shield of pines masking the reality of what occurs in this elite playground. The darkness of the grove can only truly be illuminated by the light of transparency. But what will truth reveal behind those stands of trees? Why does security run year-round at the grove?
We'll never know everything.
Mm.
Ever. It's just not going to be even, it just won't be. Unfortunately, we'll never know. I have to say, he showed, I don't know where he was getting those pictures there, but he showed like Clint Eastwood. Oh, I'm such a fan. Please don't. I am not someone who would poo-poo it if someone showed me some proof, but oh, please. Please,
Not
no.
him.
No, I mean, we grew up with his movies, all those, spaghetti westerns and all the other fabulous stuff. And he's so, yeah. Oh, that would be sad. But you don't know what people do
Mm-mm.
in their personal lives. Okay, here we go.
Why did Benassi claim that he and other children were in the grove, forced to take part in satanic rituals?
Because they were.
Kids were murdered there. Why is the cremation of care ritual so eerily similar to early sacrifices to Moloch? And why does the Bohemian Grove share rituals, secrecy, and a mascot with the Illuminati, the fabled dark masters that pull the strings of wealth and power? The layers of secrets surrounding Bohemian Grove must be peeled away. And as they are, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just a gathering of the elite reliving their college revelry. Bohemian Grove is the place where power, influence, and wealth come together, where the future of the American public and perhaps the world may be being shaped. Whether one truly believes in the accusation of aliens and satanic rituals or not, the fact remains that darkness is the ally of the elite, hiding in their arboreal shelter. What plans are these freaks making that will direct our future, or worse, destroy it? Keep in mind, everybody, to this day, the Bohemian Grove is just a boys' club where men go out to drink and camp. There's no male nudity, there's no ritual, there's no sacrifice, there's no magic that goes on, there's no child sex trafficking, there's no prostitute running, there's no drug use. It's just a place where groups of presidents and military leaders and rich billionaires and world leaders come together to have fun and blow off some steam, maybe go fish, take a little hike. That's all it is. It's Bohemian Grove. They really expect people to not fucking analyze what they're doing there. My thoughts are they are trying to say that no business goes on at Bohemian Grove. Nothing that's worth documenting to the American people. No history is being made there. No important decisions are being made there. Nothing's happening that the American people should be informed about.
They can't say what's really going there.
No.
To keep it going, they have to, and there's a certain amount of people that are just going to believe it because it's so horrific what's really going on there, or so conspiracy theory or whatever. People want to believe that none of this happens, and so
Yeah.
they just keep saying that story over and over again. There's a certain amount of people that are just going to believe it because
Mm-hmm.
they can't. It's hard to listen to.
It is hard.
Yeah. So they just can't come out and say the truth about what's really going on there. And the alien stuff, yeah, of course I believe in aliens. I think they are. I have kind of a little different belief on it. We'll have to do some alien videos. But
Yeah, for me, I was like, well, when he said talking aliens, I was like, well, if you mean when you say alien, you mean demon, then yes. Like I didn't get anything about aliens. They could be.
They could
Um,
be.
I have no idea, but
Yeah. I didn't get that from Bohemian Grove either. I have not. Um, Also the time travel thing. I I think we can time travel? Yes, in a certain extent. Do I think we can go back and change history? No.
mm,
I have not had any information about that come through. I'm always willing to be wrong, and I'm always willing to I'm just sort of not bent that way, so it's not like I put a whole lot of time thinking about it. But we time travel when we help people with clearings or um, healings, that sort of thing. We go back into their childhood. That's time traveling. We go back to
oh, wow.
where things started. Like when we do, when someone says, "Oh, I live in this 100-year-old farmhouse and things are going wrong," and we go in there to clear it. Sometimes we're taken all the way back, right? So that's
Yeah, that's
time travel. So do I believe it? Yeah. But I don't know if we can um like change big events like he's talking about. I
right.
don't know about that piece. But all right, there's just a few minutes left. Might get stopped once, but we'll
Okay.
see.
But I beg to differ. Look at the Manhattan Project, and I actually have been in contact with somebody who has a letter from it's an old actor, I forget his name, but this is like in the 50s or 60s, and it's a letter where a guy who is in the Department of Defense wrote this actor. I'll put it on screen, and they say essentially, I remember our conversation that we had at the Grove. I'd like to find a place where I can make you useful, blah, blah, blah. But this letter confirms you have a guy from the Department of Defense, from the government, who was talking to an actor about business while they were at Bohemian Grove. It's there in writing. And then the actor is getting involved with the US government. I mean, the list goes on. And I think we need transparency. I know you, the viewer, have never watched a fake child's body being burned as it screams in front of a gigantic owl statue while you all chant and get drunk. I mean, these are presidents of America that are doing this. They're presidents that voice that owl. What the fuck? This investigation took months for me to complete, and I reached out to a number of different people who had associations with the Grove. Here are some of the messages I received from them. I've heard it's like a summer camp for the rich and powerful, but I've also heard a lot about promiscuity, prostitution, and definitely some weird traditions and ritual stuff that happens there. I know the rich and powerful definitely like escorts of all ages, from what I've heard. And I know that they have rides that they put on and some other weird shows. For a quick breakdown, my late father and I share about 45 years association with the Bohemian Club as past employees of the Grove. My father consuming the vast majority of years as he started in the early 70s as head valet for Wayside Log Camp, whose members included the president of the club, both directors of the CIA and FBI, Chuck Yeager, Herman Wouk, Kevin Starr, and Jimmy Buffett, among others. My last position was of painter's apprentice, and I have done work for every camp. I, as you, have a huge interest in the club, and at this point in age, consider myself pretty much a private historian. To this day, I have friends who are past and present employees, as well as have a few members whom I consider friends. My area of interest as far as my research blossomed out of the conspiracies, primarily around the topic of and Luciferianism, as well as earth energies that are present at the location due to intersecting ley lines. Sonoma County in particular has a lot of dark history that is not too widely known, which is the current focus of my research, and so far I am able to find new information nearly every time I seek it out. I live in Guerneville, about roughly maybe 3 miles, maybe less, to the Grove. So obviously, you're seeing in these messages, these people with close associations to the Grove have heard things about some of the members having interests in children. And this is coming from people that I reached out to online with close, verifiable connections to the club. But most of the time, the answer I received when I would email people was something like this: a friend's father was a member. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
I do want to say that I think most of the employees don't know much. Probably a lot of, they hear things, they might kind of see things, whatever, but they're not privy to the real workings of what's going on. at all. So I think there could be a lot of different employees that they don't know. They're worth talking to. I'm not saying it's like, oh, why even bother talking to them? I don't mean that, but I can see where you're probably not going to get a whole lot of information from just an employee there, someone,
Right.
the valet or whatever. These people that run this are no dummies. They, and there's a lot of, we've talked about it in the other videos, there's a lot of just normal things that happen there too. A lot of the
Yeah.
people that go there are for the stuff that they say, just camping and hiking and playing and whatever. I do think there's a lot of that goes on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think it's the underground
mm,
stuff that, I mean, this is clearly an underground area. It looks like a cave in the visions as far as what spirit has sent thus far. This is what they don't want seen.
yeah, absolutely.
No employees go down there.
There
They
are
don't know what's
levels.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Physical levels to things. And when I say levels to things, that's in every area.
Yeah.
Physically, spiritually. Yeah. All right. There's like 2 minutes left. We'll see if we can just get through it.
Okay.
People didn't really want to talk to me about anything relating to the Grove. While I was conducting research for this video, I also spoke to some people who consider themselves historians on the Grove and people who have a, let's just say, very close relationship to Bohemian Grove. But every single time I talked to them, our conversation started with something like this.
I personally want to go on a record interview on this conversation. If we did that, that would be some sort of ritual conflict. So I just want to start off by saying that.
Yes, that was a jump.
I could not understand that. Could you?
No.
Other than I think they were saying they weren't going to talk about stuff. But
Okay.
I think that was the gist of it, but I couldn't understand. It was very robotic sounding, which I'm sure he did to hide their voices, but okay, let's see if we can get something.
Old audio recording. And you can just see that doing this investigation, nobody really wanted to talk to me on record about any of this stuff. The whole thing just kept getting weirder and weirder. So, as a part of this documentary, I spoke with some people that have been involved in Bohemian Grove in some capacity. I spoke with a person who claims that they've heard rumors of child exploitation and prostitute running and orgies at the Grove, somebody who's tied in. I spoke with somebody who worked there who said they've heard the same things too, and they know that there's something evil going on at the Grove. I've also spoken with a historian who dives really deep into the Bohemian Grove thing, and he believes that there's CIA involvement and mind control and all sorts of other things. But the only way to find out what the fuck is actually happening there is going to be to go ourselves. So it's Saturday, July 27th right now. Ironically, Bohemian Grove is happening right now. And what? The cremation of care happens on Saturdays? No fucking way, man. Saturday night. Yeah. Dude. Saturday fucking night. That's crazy. It's 10:57 right now here in Houston. So that means it's 8:57 in California. Saturday night, Bohemian Grove's happening right now. They're probably doing the cremation of care literally right now while I'm recording this. That just kind of gives me the chill. But yeah, I'm going to cut now to our flight out to California. We are not going to let this story die, and we are going to blow the lid off of this thing. So yeah, let's cut to that.
All right, that's the end of this video for us. So I think so we have what, 3 more videos. I think this is cut up into 6 pieces. So the next one, maybe they'll be there and doing something. Yeah.
Boy.
I know. All right.
What do you think was happening at the beginning? When I started to get that impression of shaking, it was hard to see and hear, and it felt like something landed and pulled out. Do you recall?
What's so I always sort of keep notes while we're going, and the the drugs just keeps coming, like there's a certain amount of drugs to keep people from, I mean, I know we've talked about that. I think you might have, could that have been you tuning in to the what's it called? The people watching energetically. Why am I remote viewing?
Remote viewers.
Yes.
That might be it.
Because there is a certain, I've learned from certainly the witchcraft stuff that I do, when the witches come to try to attack me or whatever, there is a feeling, and you can say if this is what you're feeling. You can feel them there. It's even, there's a different feeling between remote viewing and astral projection, but both of them, you can like feel them there. There is energy that's coming in, and it can be a little disconcerting.
Mm-hmm.
There is sort of, it could be felt as kind of a push.
Yeah,
So
it definitely felt like a push.
maybe that's it. Maybe you were feeling the way they watch over everything.
Oh,
Or maybe the dancer and so how they went in and they were secret watching too. Maybe that was picked up on. It definitely feels like watching though, doesn't it? Or
yeah,
not?
because it didn't feel like anybody was actually here,
Right.
but it was just this energetic push from this side coming
Maybe
in.
that's what that, because that dancer was talking about that type of thing, wasn't he? About the way he was feeling, always being watched when he was there, and even getting chased out. And I
Okay.
don't know. I wish I had an answer and I don't.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah.
That's a first.
Yeah. A lovely first. I love those firsts.
But it felt good after I talked about it,
Mhm.
you know, put everything out there, it abated, and spirit probably moved everything
Which
out and was
happens,
like,
right? That's what spirit does. That's how those lessons come. They bring it in and then you speak it. And once you get it, then it kind of goes.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, spirit.
yeah.
Whew. Well, this was a good one. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I think the
Yeah.
next two, maybe even all three of them, but it's them like, ghost
On
hunting
site.
type things. Yes, yes. So that's going to be
Yeah.
exciting. So I hope you all tune in. Thank you for tuning in to this one. This was sort of just the first three were really the history of it and what he's found out and that sort of thing. I love that he has people on this one that he was talking to that have been there. That was really nice. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, comment. Please give us your comments. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Heather, before we sign off?
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and we'll see you with number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you
All right.
soon. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.